It never shouts. It never threatens. It never even sounds like a lie, because the most dangerous lie you'll ever believe is just one word, spoken quietly. Later. Later sounds harmless. Later sounds wise. Later gives you the illusion that you're still in control. But what later really does is steal your life in small, invisible pieces. You don't feel the theft. You don't feel the regret, not at first. But years from now, when you look back, you'll realize it wasn't that you didn't have the ability. It wasn't that you lacked time, or talent, or intelligence. It was that you kept postponing the very thing that would have changed everything. Later is the most convincing lie, because it feels safe. That's how it gets you. It tells you, you'll start when the timing is better, you'll move when you're more confident. You'll act once you've planned it all out. It sells itself like wisdom. But it's not wisdom. It's fear in disguise. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of growth, because deep down, growth means letting go of who you were. And so you delay, and delay, and delay, until delay becomes your identity. You weren't born to wait. You were born with fire. You were born with vision. You were born with potential begging to be awakened. But somewhere along the way, the world taught you to wait. Wait for the right conditions. Wait for confidence. Wait for permission. Wait for a sign. But here's the truth. The longer you wait, the weaker your fire becomes. Not because it's gone, but because you're starving it. And every time you whisper later, you pour cold water on that flame. Dreams don't die loudly. They die quietly in the silence of delay. You'll never hear a dream scream as it dies. It won't beg for rescue. It won't make a scene. It just slowly fades, quietly, painlessly, until one day, you wake up and the dream is gone, replaced by excuses, replaced by a life you settled for, replaced by the haunting question, what could I have been if I had started sooner? That question is heavier than failure, because failure is feedback. But regret is a sentence you carry forever. One day is not a strategy. You keep saying, I'll do it one day. I'll get serious soon. This year will be different, but that one day keeps moving. And so do the opportunities, and so does your energy, and so does the version of you that believed it was still possible. Every time you delay action, you strengthen hesitation, and hesitation is the death of confidence. You don't need more time. You need more truth. The truth, you either act now or watch life pass you by. Let's be clear. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to save you. And life doesn't pause because you're still getting ready. It moves, with or without you. While you plan, someone else is executing. While you hesitate, someone else is becoming. While you scroll, someone else is building. And they're not better than you. They're just not lying to themselves. They know the most powerful word isn't perfect. It's now. Action is always the antidote. What breaks the spell of later? Action, not emotion. Not motivation, not hype. Deliberate, imperfect, repeated action. Action rewires the mind. It interrupts fear. It shatters delay. And it tells your subconscious, we're done waiting. We're done hiding. We move now. And once you move, even just once, you change. Because movement is proof. You're no longer just hoping. You're executing. And execution is what builds belief. Your life will always mirror the standards you enforce, not the goals you imagine. Here's what most people never understand. You don't become disciplined because you dream harder. You become disciplined because you enforce now. Now, I wake up. Now, I say no to distractions. Now, I face the fear. Now, I send the message. Now, I take the first step. You build a new life in seconds, not years. The second you decide, I move. The second you stop negotiating with delay, final word. Later doesn't exist. Now is all you have. Later is a lie. Later is a thief. Later is what average people say when they feel the weight of potential but lack the will to act. Don't let that be you. Because here's the brutal truth. You will never feel more ready than you do right now. And there will never be a better time than this moment. So burn the excuses. Burn the timeline. Burn the lie. And replace it with a declaration that changes everything. I start now. I rise now. I take back my time now. Because waiting is death, and movement is life. Part 1. Procrastination is not laziness. It's fear in disguise. Let's destroy the myth right now. You're not lazy. You're scared. And until you admit that, you will keep calling it procrastination, when what it really is emotional protection disguised as productivity delay. You're not avoiding the task because it's hard. You're avoiding the feeling that comes with it. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of being exposed, the fear of starting and realizing you're not who you thought you were. And so, you wait, you stall, you organize, you research, you plan again, but deep down, you're not managing time. You're managing fear. Procrastination is a defense mechanism, not a character flaw. Here's what most people never tell you. Procrastination is self-preservation. It protects your ego. It shields your image. It delays any verdict on your capability, because the moment you start, you invite the possibility of failure, and failure to the untrained mind feels like identity collapse. So instead, you delay, because as long as it's still in progress, as long as it's not yet started, you can pretend you could have done it. You're just waiting for the right time. You're not behind, just not ready yet. It's a safe story, but it's also a trap. Fear doesn't announce itself. It disguises itself as logic. Fear is clever. It doesn't say, I'm fear. Don't do this. It says, let's just wait until it's clearer. You're not in the right headspace today. Tomorrow's a better time to focus. Let's optimize before we begin. You don't want to get it wrong, do you? And because those thoughts sound responsible, you listen. But what you're really doing is this. You're letting fear lead and calling it wisdom. That's not wisdom. That's emotional avoidance dressed up as logic. The cost of delay isn't time. It's self-trust. You think procrastination costs you deadlines, or opportunity, or external results. But that's not the real price. The real cost is what it does to your self-belief. Every time you say you'll do something, and you don't, you weaken the contract with yourself, and that contract is the foundation of confidence, direction, discipline, identity. You don't trust yourself because of broken promises not to others, but to you. The cure isn't trying harder, it's getting honest. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another productivity app. You need brutal clarity. Here's how you kill procrastination at the root. Name the fear. Ask, what am I really afraid will happen if I do this now? Shine light on the lie. Ask, is the fear even true or just an emotional reflex? Create pressure that beats hesitation. Ask, if I don't act on this today, what does it cost me long term? Because here's the truth. The task isn't scary. Your story around it is. Change the story and you change the behavior. Action kills fear, but only if you start before you feel ready. This is the paradox of power. You don't act once you're ready. You get ready once you've started acting. The brain doesn't build confidence from waiting. It builds confidence from movement. Tiny steps, imperfect execution, forward energy. That's how fear breaks. That's how identity evolves. You show your mind, I don't need to feel safe, I just need to move. And every time you do, the fear loses grip and your power takes root. Procrastination isn't the problem, it's the symptom. We treat procrastination like a disease. It's not. It's a signal, a blinking red light that says, you're uncertain, you're overwhelmed, you're scared of failing, you're waiting for permission. So stop treating it like laziness. Start using it as a mirror. The next time you catch yourself delaying, pause it. Ask, what fear am I hiding from right now? Then punch through it. Not with motivation, but with movement. No one escapes the fear, but some people refuse to be ruled by it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is doing it with the fear. Because if you're waiting for the day you feel 100% confident, you'll be waiting. No one feels ready to build a business, change their life, speak their truth, or confront their demons. But the ones who grow, the ones who become dangerous, the ones who dominate, they move anyway. They act despite fear, and in doing so, they gain command over it. You don't beat fear with thoughts. You beat fear with training. Your new standard. If I fear it, I face it. Let this be your new code. If I fear doing it, I do it today. If I fear speaking it, I speak it now. If I fear failing, I give myself permission to do it badly, but I still begin. This is how the mindset of a creator is built, of a leader, of a finisher. You trade perfection later for execution now. You turn I don't feel ready into let's go anyway. And you make one powerful shift from fear-based delay to identity-based action. Final truth. The work you keep avoiding is the door to everything you want. The life you want, the confidence you seek, the clarity you crave, it's all sitting on the other side of the task you keep putting off. And the moment you face it, the moment you stop waiting, you stop being a slave to fear, and you step into the man who acts on command. Not someday, not when the timing feels right, but now. Part 2. Every time you delay, you train weakness. Let's make this brutally simple. Every time you delay something you know you need to do, you don't just lose time. You lose strength, because delay is not neutral. It doesn't keep you where you are. It moves you backward. It teaches your mind a dangerous lesson. If it's uncomfortable, if it's unfamiliar, if it's inconvenient, we avoid it. And once that becomes the rule, you're not leading your life anymore. Your emotions are, your impulses are, your weakness is. Delay is practice. And practice builds identity. You've heard it said, practice makes perfect. But that's only half true. Practice makes permanent. And every time you delay a hard thing, you're practicing avoidance. You're training. Procrastination over discipline. Comfort over courage. Excuse over execution. And repetition turns into identity. The man who delays today, delays tomorrow. The man who tolerates excuses begins to believe them. The man who avoids discomfort begins to fear pressure. You're not just skipping the task, you're shaping the man. Your brain remembers who you were yesterday. Let's get scientific for a moment. The brain thrives on patterns. It records what you repeatedly do, and then it automates that behavior as your default. So every time you choose later, you wire that in. You tell your brain, this is who we are. We delay. We fold under pressure. And your brain says, copy that. Let's make that easy next time. So the next day, you delay faster. You resist less. You start losing the ability to distinguish what matters from what's optional. You weaken your standard. Delay is a subtle form of surrender. Here's what most won't admit. Procrastination is surrender with good marketing. It doesn't look like quitting, but it is. Because deep down, you know the work matters. You know it leads to something better. But instead of doing it, you let the moment pass. You say, I'll do it when I feel better. And you abandon growth in favor of comfort. You let the mission go cold. You let your edge go dull. You trade legacy for relief. It's not a delay. It's a decision to stay small. You think you're buying time. You're actually buying weakness. I'll do it tomorrow sounds like strategy. But it's not strategy. It's a transaction. You trade one more day of relief for one more layer of weakness, one more hit of distraction, for one less ounce of self-trust. And you do that enough times, you don't just lose your edge, you lose your identity. You become the man who wants results but resists the actions that produce them. The antidote is simple. Action. Fast and repeated. If delay trains weakness, then action trains strength. Not perfect action. Not confident action. Just now action. Move when it's uncomfortable. Move when your mind says wait. Move when it makes no emotional sense, but complete logical truth. Because every time you act when it's hard, you teach your brain a new rule. We don't fold. We don't freeze. We don't wait. We move. We build. We lead. Final truth. You're always training something. You don't get to opt out of training. Every moment you either train the man who delays or the man who acts. There is no neutral. There is no pause. Every time you choose delay, you reinforce weakness. Every time you choose action, you reinforce strength. Choose wisely. Choose now. Choose who you want to become. And then move like your future depends on it. Because it does. Part 3. Discipline begins where excuses end. Let's get clear. Discipline doesn't start with motivation. It starts with refusal. Refusal to keep tolerating your own lies. Refusal to keep buying into delay. Refusal to let comfort write your story. Excuses are the language of average. Discipline is the language of execution. Every time you say, I don't feel like it, I'm not ready, it's not the right time, you have a choice. Fold to that voice, or fire back with action. Because once you stop justifying your excuses and start judging them like the enemies they are, you become unstoppable. Excuses feel comfortable, but they cost your future. Excuses are warm, familiar, easy. They give you temporary relief, but permanent regret. They don't come alone. They bring friends, guilt, anxiety, lost confidence, delayed destiny. Discipline strips that all away. It replaces emotional fog with clarity. It turns chaos into a clean schedule. It trades avoidance for momentum. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing what matters when it matters. You can have discipline or drama, but not both. Most people live in drama, running late, chasing deadlines, feeling scattered, making excuses. Why? Because they live in reaction mode. But discipline flips that. It makes your life predictable, powerful, intentional. You no longer serve your emotions. You serve your mission. You wake up and know exactly what needs to be done. And you do it, regardless of mood, when excuses end. Direction begins. If you want clarity, cut the excuses. If you want progress, kill the justifications. If you want strength, start with truth. Discipline is truth in motion. It's you saying, I no longer need to feel ready. I no longer need to feel motivated. I just need to move. Excuses are heavy. Discipline is light. It demands effort up front, but pay back freedom, identity, peace. And that's worth everything. Final word. Discipline is a muscle. Excuses are a habit. Every time you push through resistance, you grow your discipline muscle. Every time you listen to excuses, you reinforce avoidance. And only one of those gets you where you want to go. Kill the excuse. Feed the action. Build the man who moves on command. Because nothing, and I mean nothing, will change until you do. Part 4. Time doesn't take from you. You give it away. Let's stop pretending. Time is the enemy. Time doesn't steal from you. You hand it over. Every minute you spend scrolling, waiting, watching, refreshing, doubting is not stolen. It's surrendered. Time is neutral. You are the one who decides whether it multiplies your greatness or buries it in distraction. Time is a mirror of your standards. You want to know someone's priorities. Watch how they use their time, not what they say. What they schedule, because time doesn't lie. Your calendar is your character in disguise. You're either investing time or consuming it, building identity or avoiding it, practicing power or practicing weakness. You're not running out of time. You're leaking it. You don't need more time. You need more ownership. The most successful people in the world, they don't have more hours. They just refuse to give their hours to things that don't matter. They protect time like their future depends on it. Because it does. And so does yours. Every hour you waste is a seed that could have grown. Confidence, income, clarity, identity. You're not overwhelmed. You're undisciplined with your attention. The lie. I'll get to it later. Let's kill this lie right now. Later is a code word for never. I'll write it later. I'll work out later. I'll have that conversation later. No, you won't. You're just handing your future to convenience. You're making weakness your default. You're building a muscle of postponement. And the more you say later, the more you train powerlessness. Final word. Time honors the man who honors himself. You don't manage time. You manage yourself. And the moment you decide, I move now. I don't wait. I train action. Not excuse. Time will start to obey you. Not because it changed, but because you did. Take it back. Every minute, every hour, every wasted piece of potential. Reclaim it and rebuild the man who never delays what builds his destiny. Part 5. You'll never feel like it. Do it anyway. Let's crush the biggest myth in personal growth. That one day, you'll feel like doing it. You won't. Not consistently. Not when it matters most. You won't feel like waking up early. You won't feel like going to the gym. You won't feel like writing that chapter, making that call, or saying no to the distractions. And if you keep waiting for that feeling to come, you'll waste decades. I don't feel like it is the most expensive sentence in your life every time you say it. You're building a habit, not just of inaction, but of permission. You're training yourself to believe that feelings come before movement. But high performers know movement comes before motivation. Action comes before alignment. Discipline comes before desire. You move because it's time, not because it feels good. The enemy is not fatigue. It's negotiation. You don't need more energy. You need fewer conversations with yourself. Because here's how it goes every morning. Should I get up? Maybe 5 more minutes. It's cold. I didn't sleep enough. I'll be more focused later. Sound familiar? That's not logic. That's mental weakness in disguise. The disciplined man doesn't debate. He decides in advance. And he acts regardless of how he feels. Feelings are unreliable guides. Feelings are reactive. They respond to comfort. They chase ease. And if you let them lead, you'll always choose what's simple over what's necessary. You don't feel like brushing your teeth. But you do it. Why? Because you value the result. You've made it non-negotiable. Success is the same. You don't wait to feel like it. You train yourself to move because you said you would. Your discipline isn't built on high days. It's forged in low ones. Everyone performs when it's convenient. When the sun's out, when you're inspired, when everything aligns. But what happens on the off days? What happens when you're tired, you're stressed, you're doubting yourself? That's where real identity is built. Discipline isn't tested when it's easy. It's revealed when it's hard, and most people fail that test not because they can't do the work, but because they expect to want to. The secret is simplicity. Act first, feel later. Don't wait for confidence. Build it. Don't wait for readiness. Prove it. Don't wait for motivation. Manufacture it. Start the reps. Start the writing. Start the task. Even if it's ugly. Even if it's sloppy. Even if your mind screams. This is pointless because once momentum hits, everything changes. And the mind follows the body. Decide once, execute daily. Discipline isn't about making hard choices every day. It's about making one hard choice and sticking to it. You decide, I'm the man who trains. I'm the man who builds. I'm the man who keeps his word. And then you act like it. You stop negotiating. You stop explaining. You stop needing permission. You replace emotion with execution. You replace excuses with action. The strongest men aren't motivated. They're unshakable. They don't care if they feel like it. They care if it aligns with who they've chosen to be. They don't seek ease, they seek evidence. Proof that they're still in command. Proof that they don't need comfort to dominate. Proof that they're becoming sharper and stronger, harder to stop. They don't chase feelings. They create identity. And identity always beats impulse. Final word. You don't need to want it. You just need to do it. If you keep waiting to feel like it, you'll die with your best work still inside you. Because discipline isn't about desire, it's about decision. You decide, this gets done. This matters. This happens no matter what. And then you follow through. Not because you feel like it, but because that's who you are now. And when you move like that, every single day becomes a step away from weakness and a step toward power. Part 6, the work you resist the most is where you'll grow the most. There's a brutal but liberating truth most people avoid. Your next level lives in the task you keep avoiding. Not the task you like, not the one you feel good doing, but the one that makes your stomach tighten, your mind drift, your hands pause over the keyboard. That's not coincidence. That's direction. What you resist the most is often what you need the most. Resistance is a compass. Stephen Pressfield called it the resistance. It's real, it's relentless, and it has a job to keep you from the thing that will grow you. Resistance shows up when the stakes are high, when your purpose is close, when transformation is at the door, when you're about to leave the old version of yourself behind. It whispers, you're not ready. You might fail. This isn't the right time. And it's so convincing that most people believe it. But the ones who rise, they use resistance as a map. They don't avoid the fear. They follow it. Because whatever you avoid most holds the greatest potential to shape you. Avoidance weakens identity. Every time you dodge that hard task, that phone call, that conversation, that challenge, you're not just avoiding discomfort. You're reinforcing weakness. You're telling yourself, I don't trust myself with pressure. I'd rather protect my ego than pursue my power. I'd rather stay small than fail in public. And your brain believes you. It adapts. It adjusts. It reshapes you to fit the avoidance. Before long, you don't just avoid the task. You become the kind of man who avoids himself. The task is just a doorway. Identity is what's on the other side. Look past the discomfort. What's really behind the resistance? Growth, clarity, respect, self-trust, command. That task you're dodging. That uncomfortable move. That honest conversation. It's not a wall. It's a mirror, showing you how far you're willing to go for your future. Do it, and you become someone new. Avoid it, and you stay who you've always been. Growth always comes with friction. You don't stretch without resistance. You don't level up without pressure. You don't evolve without discomfort. Friction is the price of progress. And most people try to negotiate that price down. They ask, is there an easier way? Can I grow without being exposed? Can I win without looking stupid at the start? No, you cannot. Growth isn't polite. It's painful. It's loud. It's messy, but it's yours. If you're feeling resistance, that's not a warning sign. It's confirmation you're in the right place. The man who faces resistance builds fire. Every time you step into the thing you resist, you prove something to yourself, that you're stronger than the fear, that you can act before you feel ready, that you don't need comfort to create greatness. You build fire. You build identity. You build separation from the average, because most people turn back when resistance rises. You don't. You advance. You confront. You conquer. Start with the hardest thing first. Make it a rule. Wake up and do that thing. The one you fear. The one you delay. The one you rationalize away every day. Because if you can do that before breakfast, you'll walk differently the rest of the day. You'll speak with more weight. You'll make decisions faster. You'll train your nervous system to handle pressure, not run from it. And pressure, once trained, becomes power. The bigger the resistance, the bigger the reward. Your fear is a signal. Fear of writing, you have something powerful to say. Fear of public speaking, you have a message the world needs. Fear of failure, you're standing at the edge of breakthrough. Fear of discipline, you're moments away from mastery. Whatever is pulling you back the hardest, that's your assignment. The bigger the resistance, the more critical the mission. Don't wait for the fear to leave. Move with it, because growth doesn't come after the fear goes away. It comes when you walk through it. Final word. Resistance is a signal, not a stop sign. From now on, let this be your new rule. If I resist it, I run toward it. If it scares me, I study it. If it makes me want to hide, I lean in. You don't need to conquer the whole mountain today. Just take one bold, uncomfortable step. Face the thing. Start the thing. And when your body says don't, you whisper back, watch me, because greatness is not found in the work you love. It's found in the work you resist, and the moment you stop avoiding it, you become untouchable, part Yeti. You're not behind. You're just distracted. Let's tell the truth. You're not behind in life. You're just distracted from what matters. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not too broken. You're just too busy. Chasing noise instead of meaning. Reacting to notifications instead of leading a mission. Letting your attention be pulled in every direction, except forward. The world isn't moving too fast, you're just moving without focus. We love to say the world is chaotic, too fast, too crowded, too much to keep up with. But chaos isn't the problem. Lack of clarity is. If you don't know where you're going, every distraction feels urgent. Every shiny object feels like a maybe. Every task feels important. And soon, you're exhausted without progress. Busy, but not built. In motion, but not in mastery. Distraction feels harmless, but it destroys your power. Every time you check the feed, refresh the inbox, reply to every buzz, you're not just wasting time. You're training your brain to scatter. You're weakening your ability to go deep, to hold focus, to make real impact. Focus is a weapon. Distraction is decay. And the more you give into distraction, the less you can trust yourself with time. Not because you're incapable, but because you're always escaping. You think you're falling behind. You're really just leaking potential. Here's what's crazy. You're doing enough to feel tired, but not enough to feel transformed. That's the pain of distraction. You stay active but not aligned. You do tasks but not missions. You touch everything but build nothing. And then you wonder, why am I stuck? You're not stuck. You're spread thin. You're not behind. You're disconnected from your discipline. Focus isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. You don't need more hours in your day. You need fewer commitments that don't serve your future. You need to silence the low-value tasks, the reactive requests, the people who don't respect your boundaries. You need to decide. This is what I build. This is who I become. Everything else is noise, and then you move accordingly. Every day you check 100 things but ignore the one that builds you. Let's be honest. You've had the same goal for months, maybe years, but every day, instead of writing the chapter, recording the video, building the business, you do 97 other things. You organize your folders, rework your plan, scroll productivity content, chase minor dopamine hits. Meanwhile, the thing that actually moves your life forward, it waits and waits and waits, not because you don't care, but because you're distracted from your destiny. You don't need a new strategy. You need elimination. Clarity doesn't come from adding more. It comes from subtracting. Kill the apps. Block the time. Say no more often. Reclaim your mornings. Protect your mind like it's your greatest asset, because it is. If it doesn't build your future, it doesn't belong in your present. This is how you close the gap. Not with hustle, with intent. The fastest way to make progress is to go all in on less. Pick your one thing, just one. One mission, one process, one system, one version of you that you commit to without distraction, and then go deep. Get obsessed. Cut out the fluff. Treat your attention like gold, because the more focused you become, the faster you move and the further you go. Distraction spreads you wide. Focus takes you high. Final word. You're not late. You're just not locked in. Let this hit. You're not behind. You've just been living with your eyes off the road, and that ends now. Put the blinders on, turn the world down. Dial your mission up. You don't need more time. You need more attention. You don't need to move faster. You need to move on purpose. And when you do that, you'll realize you were never behind. You were just one decision away from building unstoppable momentum. Part 8. 1 hour of deep focus beats a week of half-hearted effort. Let's end the biggest productivity lie of modern life. Being busy doesn't mean you're building anything. You can work 10 hours and still get nothing real done. You can grind all week and still move nowhere. Because progress doesn't come from hours logged. It comes from depth of focus. 1 hour of locked in, undistracted, undiluted execution will destroy an entire week of multitasking. Half-hearted attempts. This is the secret. High performers know. Depth beats volume. Clarity beats motion. Precision beats noise. Most people don't work. They switch. They're not focused. They're fragmenting. They bounce from tab to tab, app to app, task to task, thought to thought. They call it productivity, but it's just mental chaos. Your brain doesn't hit flow in 2 minutes. It needs immersion. It needs silence. It needs presence. And most people never give themselves enough uninterrupted time to even access their real power. Multitasking is just a fancy word for divided effort. You're not doing more. You're doing less with more anxiety. When you multitask, you forget what matters. You lower quality. You increase error. You stay shallow. It feels productive, but it produces confusion. Half effort equals half results. Every time. Real progress requires full attention, full energy, full presence. Deep work is where your identity gets rebuilt. When you go deep, you finish things. You sharpen ideas. You build confidence. You witness your potential come alive. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop dabbling and start mastering. Because in deep work, something shifts. You stop chasing the clock. You start chasing greatness. You don't check the time. You lose yourself in the mission. You don't need hours. You need 1 hour that matters. Let's be real. Most people don't need more time. They need one focused, sacred block of work daily. That's it. 1 hour with no phone, no tabs, no noisy, no escape routes. Just full commitment to what matters. Do this 5 days a week. You'll dominate your goals. You'll separate from 95% of people. You'll earn more respect, including from yourself. Half-hearted work kills self-trust. When you skim through your tasks, when you move without care, when you rush the process just to check the box, you don't just disappoint others. You betray your future. You lose trust in your ability to deliver excellence. You reinforce mediocrity. You build a habit of almost, and almost is the graveyard of potential. Deep focus is a discipline, not a mood. You won't always feel like locking in. You'll feel tempted by the easy stuff. But this is where you draw the line. This is where you say, for this hour, I'm unavailable to the world. For this hour, I serve the mission only. For this hour, I move like a man who's building something that matters. And the more you do that, the easier it gets, the stronger you become, the faster your life shifts. If you want to move like the elite, you need to think like them. Top performers don't chase time. They chase intensity. They measure success not by hours worked, but by what got moved. They block time like warriors. They show up like professionals. They act like what they build today will echo forever. And you know what? They're right, because it does. Final word. Make every hour count or count nothing at all. You don't need to grind all day. You just need to go all in when it counts. If you give me 60 minutes of deep, undistracted, uncomfortable work every day, I'll show you a life that transforms in 6 months. Not because you did more, but because you finally did what matters, and you did it with all you had. So stop pretending time is your problem. Start mastering your focus. Because deep focus is rare, and rare habits create rare results. Let's end this with truth. You don't need more time. You need to stop giving your time to things that don't move you forward. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop letting comfort vote on your decisions. You don't need more potential. You need to stop delaying what builds your power. You already know what needs to be done. You've known it for a while. That habit you keep saying you'll start. That business you keep pushing to next month. That decision you keep putting off. That version of you that shows up sometimes, but never long enough. You keep waiting for a better mood, a better time, a clear sign. But here's the truth. There is no better time. There is no perfect version of you coming. There is only now. Delay is the slowest death of potential. It doesn't feel like failure, but it is. It creeps in quietly. A missed day here, a not today there. A few more scrolls, a few more soft promises to yourself. And before you know it, momentum is gone. Confidence is gone. Your word to yourself is worthless. And all you're left with is the echo of what you could have been. Don't let that be your story. The new standard: I move. I lead. I decide. From this moment forward, no more waiting. No more justifying. No more hiding behind later. You lead, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's clapping. You move like the man who's tired of delay. You execute like the man who's ready to dominate. You lead not because you're fearless, but because fear no longer gets to vote. You don't need more time. You need one decision. This one, to stop running from the work and start running toward your legacy. One decision to show up now. To turn the distraction off, to make the hard move, to do the real work, to become unrecognizable 6 months from now. And it starts today. Don't just watch this. Act on it. Drop a comment. What are you delaying right now that needs to get done? Put it in writing. Make it real. Hit save. Because this isn't a one-time message. This is a standard. Come back to it when you drift. Share it. Someone out there is drowning in delay. Send this to them. Be the one who pulls them back to discipline. Watch the next video. Because this journey doesn't end here. It compounds. One truth, one action, one win at a time. Final word. Your future is on the line. You've delayed enough. You've doubted enough. You've distracted yourself enough. Now, you lead with focus, with fire, with discipline that doesn't flinch. This is your moment. Claim it, and never ever hand your power to later again. FOA, subscribe to Napoleon's Mindset. Watch the next episode. Discipline is the shortcut to every dream. Comment below. What are you acting on today? No more delay. Because this isn't entertainment. This is your execution plan. Let's build.